every new step which is in the direction of its human's development, while on one side it is benefiting because of its good points in it, also at the same time Satan is also using those things for his purpose. And Allah Almighty says that he is attempting to harm you. If you are going to follow him, then you will get away from the guidance. And this verse of Surah Baqarah which I have recited, Allah Almighty has mentioned that Allah Almighty puts the fear of poverty in your hearts. The meaning of faqr is poverty, and the meaning of faqr is also the breaking of the backbone. So when Allah Almighty says He frightens you from poverty, that if you do so, then you won't be able to stand up upright. By doing things, by this and this thing, poverty will overtake you. This is what He says. And in this world, which is a progressive world, you will be lagging behind. And never you will be able to establish your position and status if you are going to make sacrifices. So this putting fear by this Satan, he puts a fear in this way with reference to various sacrifices. Sometime he frightens you by saying that this is the time to work, and this time you should not be sacrificing for worship of Allah. Sometime he would try to stop you from financial sacrifices and put the fear of poverty, that if you spend the money right now, then it will be very detrimental to your business. And sometime he would be frightening you in this way, that if you are spending this money at this time today, then your children will go hungry. But those who are truly servants of Allah, they are never deceived in by this attempt of Satan. A few days ago, I was looking at one article in Al-Fazl. Somebody in Rabwa, his incident was mentioned, that he was standing at the meat shop, and the Secretary Finance passed by this, and he looked at that person who was buying the meat. He's the Secretary Finance said, and he just as a reminder, he mentioned to him that some of your promise is still due to be paid. And the person asked, how much is that? When he told a certain amount, then immediately it was quite handsome money, which he immediately paid to Secretary Finance and got the receipt. And the meat which he bought from the shopkeeper, he returned that. He said, no, I return it to you, and we will just go on simple food. So these are the type of people who are not deceived by Satan, and who says that you take care of your children, they like to have meat today, and you are depriving those children. So this is what the Satan puts in their heart. So by the grace of Allah, such examples is not only one, there are hundreds of such examples of such people who not only abstain from eating meat, but sometimes for the sake of financial sacrifices they have to go through starvation, but they do not leave these financial sacrifices. The history of Ahmadiyya is replete and filled with such examples of sacrifices. There are hundreds of people who die in Pakistan nowadays, and all of a sudden nobody knows who is going to become the victim of the bullet. But Ahmadis are offering those sacrifices while they know that because of this act and because of doing this thing, because of living in this particular area or walking on these paths, there are overwhelming chances that they may be killed because of just being Ahmadi. But for the sake of Allah Almighty, they always go on offering these sacrifices. In Jamaat Ahmadiyya, in the history of Ahmadiyyat, Sayyid al-Shuhada, Hazrat Sayyid Abdul Latif Sahib Shaheed, the chief of the martyrs, his sacrifice is mentioned, is noted there. The sacrifice of Maulvi Abdur Rahman Sahib, who was martyred in Kabul during the time of the promised Messiah ﷺ. So these are the sacrifices. They have shown to the whole world that these are the people, servants of Allah, who for a specific purpose, for the purpose of the prayer of Allah Almighty, they do not even spare their lives to be sacrificed in His way. And these are the scores of such instances of such sacrifices are there in the life of Ahmadis, that all of a sudden, as a result of a sudden attack, they got martyred. Not only like this, rather very boldly, very openly, stood very firm in their faith. They offered these sacrifices of life, and they offered them, and they offered their lives for this noble cause. So anyway, regarding Satan, Allah Almighty says that he is going to frighten you from sacrifices. Sometime he is saying that you will be you will come under in poverty, you will become poor, and sometime he says that as a result of this sacrifice, your sacrifices will not, your children will not be able to do anything. And when he frightens from the sacrifice of life, then he puts the idea of the children in your heart. Today in this age, this finance is also described as the backbone. So those people who offer the sacrifice of their life and their property and wealth, and they are frightened of the poverty of their children, but they continue to offer their sacrifices, and they are never misled by that. And there are so many other types of sacrifices. Various sacrifices are there about which Satan always frightens the people. The sacrifice of time is there. Every Ahmadi knows it fully well, because by the grace of Allah, all the Ahmadis who are linked with the Nizam-e-Jamaat, administration of the Jamaat, they always give some time for the Jamaat, for the sake of Jamaat. If not more, then at least they go to attend the meetings and the gatherings of the Jamaat which are held. And a large number of Ahmadis are there on Friday at the time of Jummah. They also spend their time and come to offer the Jummah, time of Jummah, and they do not care for these instigations of Satan. And but unfortunately there are some those who are even not coming for Jummah or even for Eidan, the two Eids, and they are sacrificing these worship at the cost of their business. And the attention to the prayer is also something which is very alarming. And there is a large number of Ahmadis who are not paying full attention as it should be. There are several reasons for that, and the greatest reason for that is that they are busy in their own business, in their own works, and they do not sacrifice the time for offering the prayer and worship. So Allah Almighty says that Satan frightens you in so many ways regarding your sacrifices. Sometime poverty is there, and sometime he stops you from sacrificing the time